Make your life a movie that inspires people. Make your life a movie that people go, if they can do it, then I can do it. You know, most people are building a life and a movie that actually discourages people. Because you're so smart, you're so talented, you're so capable. And when you don't win, the people around you go, if they can't do it, what makes me think that I can? So whether you know it or not, you're killing dreams when you don't make your dream come to reality. But whatever you think of yourself, when you win, when you make your dreams come true, you change the world because people look and they say, if he or she can do it, why can't I? So please, make your movie an amazing one, make it a happy ending, and make your dreams come true. Thank you. Are we ready to finish strong? Yeah. Awesome. All right, I got some really good stuff to share with all of you. And I'm not going to spend too much time on my story because I think many of you are familiar with it, and I don't think it's that important. It's not about my story, it's about your story. Would you agree? Yeah. Awesome. But I want to highlight a couple points because it relates to my training. So I originally got introduced to this opportunity in 2014. Different hierarchy, different system. And first year, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, $8,000 of income. Okay? Thank you for not copying, you shouldn't. Right? Don't clap, don't clap. There's nothing to clap. It's pretty sad actually. And I recruited 50 people, all of them quit within a week. Second year, we're gonna make this happen. I made $22,000. Everyone quit that year too. So after 2 years of 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, hard work, empty-handed in terms of tangible results, but filled with skill set and mindset. Then after that 2 years, I'm like, look, it must be the business, it can't be me. So I go do other businesses. I go do e-commerce, I do forex trading, and many people, it's human nature, we believe the grass is greener on the other side. So I'm like, these businesses must be easier. I show up to these new green grasses, as soon as I step into them, they become brown. You know why? Because I showed up. Here's the reality of it. Wherever you go, there you are. Many people change the countries they live in, they change the cities that they live in, they change the opportunities that they get involved in, and nothing seems to change. You know why? Because we haven't changed yet. And until you change, nothing around you will change. So another year of failure, I get to 2018 where I make a decision. I'm like, look, I'm gonna stop chasing the success and I'm gonna start chasing mentors to learn, because if I learn enough, the success will come eventually. So that's how I reached out to Dave, started working with them. First 6 months on a part-time basis, I had my 50K watch. Here's the truth though, it didn't happen in 6 months. It happened in 3 years. Because in that 2 years that I was in that other office, although I didn't get the results I wanted, I got the skill set and mindset required to take this opportunity when I met Dave to the next level. First year full-time as an MD, I hit my 100K. And then I was stuck for a little bit. Around that 100K mark, and I was struggling to finish my SMD. May of 2020, I hit my SMD minimum qualifications. For those of you that were around in COVID, they actually reduced the qualification for the SMD from 10 licenses to 7. And instead of doing 75,000 points in only 3 months, you only needed to do 60. So I barely qualified even with those qualifications. And my only MD at the time, Aneda, was my replacement. So I go into June of 2020, I have 0 MDs, I have 5 licensed agents. And that's how I started my journey as an SMD. 6 months later, I promote 30 MDs wide. I had my 250K, 3 months after that I had my 500K, after, I think 6 months after that I had my 750, now we're at $1.1 million cash. Now here's the main question that most of you probably have. What changed? What changed? How did you go from so much failure to having so much success? That's exactly what I'm going to talk about with you today. Is that okay? Yes. And I'm going to actually train you on all the different things that I did so you can do the same thing. Cool? Okay. Before I tell you exactly what it is that I did, I want to explain something. There are 2 types of economies that all of us participate in. There is the time and effort economy, and then there's the result economy. What is the difference? The time and effort economy is an employee mindset, where we believe the more time we give to something, the more we will earn from it. Is that correct? When you're an employee, you trade time for money, so our assumption becomes that the more time we give into something, the more income we should earn and the more benefit we should get from it. Yes or no? Wonderful. The results economy is different. The results economy is an entrepreneurial mindset where you only get rewarded for results. If you own a coffee shop and you stand there for 12 hours a day, but you have no customers, do you make any money? So you see, in the results economy, trading time doesn't work anymore. Yes or no? Okay. But here's the truth. An entrepreneur mindset and an employee mindset have nothing to do with your occupation. I know many employees that have an entrepreneur mindset. They go through the company ladder much faster than anyone else, and they are the best employees of that company. Yes or no? Yes. And I know many entrepreneurs, whether in our business or other businesses, that run their business with an employee mindset. And they end up struggling, being frustrated, and they never really reach the heights that they want to reach. So mindset has nothing to do with your occupation. It has everything to do with the way that you think. So here's the trap that I got stuck in for those 2 years and later on. The trap that I got stuck in was that I simply was working hard, and I was expecting that by working hard, by working 12 hours a day, or working 7 days a week, that the results would come. But that's only one piece of the puzzle. You see, working hard and having great work ethic gets you in the race, but it will not help you win the race. If I'm building a puzzle and I only have one piece, is that going to work out for me? So there's two more pieces when it comes to the puzzle of success. You not only have to outwork your competition, you also have to out-improve them and out-strategize. Does that make sense? There's 3 pieces to the success puzzle, and 99% of people who never become successful simply fail because they only have one piece of the puzzle, which is the work ethic one. And as much as we like to think that work ethic is rare, it is not that rare. I know many Starbucks baristas that work their butt off. Last night I went to Subway after the convention. There was 2 employees that were working their butt off, and they had been there for 10, 12 hours. Work ethic is not as rare as we think it is. But because we want to justify our actions, we keep thinking work ethic alone is enough. Here's the next step though. You have to actually out-improve. Some of you are thinking, well, Nima, if you do something long enough, don't you get better at it? No. I know a lot of people who've been doing some things for a long time, but they're still not that good at it. Because here's how the learning curve of human beings actually goes. It goes up, 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 and then at some point, it stagnates. Many students learn a lot through their 4 years of education. After their education is done, their learning curve starts to stagnate. Now here's the truth. Inflation is a thing, not just in finances, but also in human development. So yeah, if you work hard, you will improve at the rate of inflation. But by improving at the rate of inflation, are you going to win the competition? Are you going to be the best? You're just going to keep up with everyone else. And 99% of people who do things for 5, 10, 15, 20 years are simply keeping up with the inflation of improvement. They're not outgrowing it. And what happens if you're keeping up with inflation or below it? You fall behind or you stay the same. Yes or no? Yes. By staying the same, do you get the results you want? No. So today, I'm going to train you on all these 3. I'm going to spend less time on outworking, and I'm going to spend more time on out-improving and out-strategizing. Because for me, I was stuck in that trap of outworking for a very long time, and I suffered through it. Because I felt entitled to success because I was putting the hours, but that's not how life works. You don't get what you want, you get what you deserve. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's start. How do you improve your work ethic? Well, in order to understand this, we need to actually understand what work ethic actually is. So let's break it down. The work means being engaged in physical or mental activity in order to achieve a result. That is the definition of work. Ethic means a set of morals and principles, essentially your standards. So work ethic is your standard for your work, not the hours you put into it. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. So somebody who has a great work ethic is someone who has a great standard for the work that they do. Meaning, they do it at the highest quality in the most efficient way. Many people think that great work ethic means putting a lot of time into something. Wrong. Great work ethic means having a high standard for your work, which is high quality and high efficiency to produce what? Results. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So how do we improve our work ethic? Here are a couple tips that I can give you. Never start your day until you finish it. Never start your day until you finish it. What does that mean? That means you have to plan your day before you get to it. You should know exactly what's going to happen from the moment you get to work till the moment you go to bed. If you're not planning your day, you're not running it on a to-do list, you are not going to have productive days. What do they say? If you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So to-do lists are a huge part of improving your work ethic. And the more detailed it is, the better it's going to be. When you work at a company, a great company, I'm not talking about some crappy ones, the great ones. What does your employer do in the beginning of your employment with them? They give you their expectations, and they give you your schedule, and they tell you exactly what you need to do in your work hours. Yes or no? And if you don't do it, what happens? You get fired. Here's the problem with entrepreneurship and the benefit. You're the boss. The problem with being your own boss is if you're a bad boss, you're going to have a bad business. The good thing about being a boss is you have freedom. But as a great boss to yourself, you have to hold yourself to the same standards that your employer would at a great company. Yes or no? Yes. So not only should you have a great to-do list, but you should make it a standard that you follow that to-do list. Now, you're not going to fire yourself from your business, but you can definitely punish yourself. The reality is, as human beings, we need a reward and punish system in order to grow. You're not going to have that in this business. I can't punish you, Dave can't punish you, but you can punish yourself. And here's the thing with punishments. This is not some I'm not saying beat yourself up. Do push-ups, go for a run, whatever it is, something that you hate, that you know is good for you, punish yourself when you don't follow the list. And when you do, you should reward yourself. Here's the next part of this. You gotta build momentum in your day. The reason a lot of people struggle to have great work ethic is not because they're lazy, it's because they lack momentum. They start their day off by hitting the snooze button, by making an excuse for going to the gym. Yes or no? Here's the truth. Every discipline leads to another, and every lack of discipline leads to another. Meaning, if I wake up on time, am I more likely to go to the gym or less likely? If I wake up late, am I more likely to go to the gym or less likely? So you see, momentum is everything. And in order to build momentum in your day, you need to act before you feel like acting. The truth is that we need dopamine in order to feel motivated and inspired. Many of you sitting here are getting many dopamine hits as you hear these speeches. But the truth is, when you wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to be like every other morning. You're not going to feel like waking up. You're going to be tired and you're going to be grouchy. Action creates dopamine, not the other way around. So here's the truth. In order to feel like doing something, you need to first do it. I promise you, most days I do not feel like going to the gym. But as soon as I show up and I start lifting the weights, the dopamine starts to go through my body and the motivation increases. With that dopamine, it's easier for me to eat healthy. With that, it's easier for me to do my invite time. Does that make sense to you? Yes. So you gotta build momentum in your day. And here is one of the best ways to build momentum in your day. Schedule yourself in bulk. One of the mistakes that people make is they schedule themselves way too generally in their day. Would you agree that on the days that you're the most busy, you get the most done? Haven't you all had those days or weeks or months where you've been so busy and you were so productive? What about the days that you're not so busy? How productive are you on those days? By the way, you know those days you wake up like, today I'm going to get so much done, and you get nothing done. Because momentum is critical. And what I learned to do to increase my work ethic is I schedule myself in bulk. What does that mean? That means that I go from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. I have to. It's not a choice. I have to get X, Y, Z done. Until X, Y, Z gets done, we don't eat lunch, we don't move, nothing happens. Once X, Y, Z is done, we take a quick break, and then I have another bulk from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. I gotta get everything done in that bulk, and you know what I look at it as? I look at it as if it's a timer that a bomb is gonna blow up. So the closer I get to 5 p.m. and I'm not getting things done, what happens to me? The more motivated and urgency I have. Yes or no? Then I go from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., I got another bulk. So I bulk my schedule, and by doing that, it allows me to create that momentum to work throughout the day as productively as possible. And if you know me personally, at 10 p.m. I'm just as energized as I am at 9 a.m. You know why that is? Because I've learned to recalibrate as I go through the day. That means every hour I take 5 minutes where I do some breathing exercises, I might do some push-ups, I might take my dog for a walk, and that recalibration energizes me for the next hour. But what a lot of people do that kills their work ethic is they try to do everything back to back, back to back, back to back with no breaks. And by the time they're done, they're exhausted. So in order to have a great work ethic, it's like being a great athlete. What does a marathon runner learn to do? They learn to pace themselves, yes or no? So in order to have great work ethic, you gotta learn to pace yourself. That means you gotta know when to sprint, when to jog, when to take a quick water break, and that's how you finish a marathon, yes or no? Wonderful. Here's the next thing. Measure your performance more often. Performance that is measured is performance that is improved. Most people measure their performance once a year. New Year's resolution, take a tequila shot, how did I do last year? No problem, but that means you have one chance every year to change. Yes or no? Average performers do that. A little bit above average, they measure their performance every quarter. Every 3 months, they go, how did I do the last 3 months? A little bit above that in performance, they measure once a month. How did I do last month? Top performers measure their performance weekly. World-class performers measure their performance on a daily. Elite, and when I say elite, I'm talking 0.00001%. The billionaires, the famous people that we all hear about who are extremely successful, they measure their performance every hour. Why? Because every hour becomes an opportunity to change and make the next hour better. Don't you feel how fast time goes by? It's like, how did it go? It went because you weren't intentional about it. Work without intention is a waste of time. And most people just go through the motions. Even at a convention like this, the majority of attendees will just go through the motions. They clap at the same level, they cheer at the same level, but the ones who get the most are the ones that are the most intentional. Does that make sense? In order to create intention, you need a time for reflection. Without reflection, intention is impossible. So if you measure your performance every hour, you have every chance to reflect, get intentional to make that hour the best hour. Would you agree? If you make all your hours the best hour, what do you have? You have a great day. If you make your days all great, what do you have? A great week. If you make all your weeks great, you have a great month. And don't get it twisted. Just like how there's 4 quarters in a basketball game and an NFL game, there's 4 quarters in a WFG game. Quarter number 1 is week number 1. You messed up week number 1, you can still win. Haven't there been a lot of basketball teams that lose first quarter but win the next 3? You lose the second quarter, you can still win the last 2. You lose the last quarter, the third quarter before the fourth one, now we need miracles. So if you waste 3 weeks of a month, you need a miracle to finish that month strong. Would you agree? So just like how for a basketball team, every quarter is life and death, if every week becomes life and death for you in this business, you grow faster than anyone else. Does that make sense to you? Yes. So that's how I view my life and my business, where every week is as critical as a full game. Just like how great basketball teams and great NFL teams do. So measure your performance more often. Here's the next thing. Have the right associations. It's hard to have great work ethic with terrible associations. When I say terrible associations, these are not terrible people. They're usually loving people, they're great people, they're good friends, they're good family members. But when it comes to work ethic, they're not good for you. Why? Because when you finish your work day, they don't say, wow, you're so amazing that you work so hard. This is why you're gonna win. You know what they say? Why are you working so hard? Bro, we've been watching these shows on Netflix the last 2 hours, we've been grabbing a beer, what's the point? You think with that kind of messaging, you're more motivated to work harder? You're like, oh, are they right? Should I work less hard? You need the right associations in order to have the right work ethic. So here's what I learned to do. And I'm good at this. I'm very assertive. With my friends who said that, I said, look, if you want to stay friends, you can never say this to me again. Every time I finish work, either say nothing or tell me how great I did. And for the ones that accepted and respected that boundary, we're still friends, we love each other, things are going great. For the ones that didn't, I didn't cut them off. We just spent less time together. You don't have to cut off your associations. You just have to limit the time you spend with them. Does that make sense?